Ambassador Lisa Martinez walked through the massive doors of the Galactic Council chambers. Her black suit looked simple compared to the colorful robes and strange armor worn by the alien representatives. She carried a small datapad in her hand. The message on it would change everything. The chamber was huge. It could hold 10,000 beings from across the galaxy. Floating platforms carried delegates from worlds with different gravity. Some breathed different air through masks. Others had tentacles instead of arms. But they all had one thing in common. They all looked down on humans. Lisa had been Earth's voice in this place for 8 years. She had watched human soldiers die protecting alien worlds. She had seen human engineers build defenses for species that would not even share a meal with them. Every time she asked for humanity to become a full member of the Council, she got the same answer. No, the Council speaker. A tall blue creature called Zolthan raised 4 arms for silence. His voice echoed through the chamber without any emotion. Council recognizes Ambassador Martinez of the Human Protectorate. The word stung every time. It meant humanity was useful, but not equal. They could fight and die for the Council, but they could not vote on Council matters. They could not make laws that affected them. They were tools, not partners. Lisa stepped forward to the speaking platform. Round her, hundreds of alien faces watched with boredom. They had heard human requests before. They always said no. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Lisa began. Her voice was calm and clear. I come before you today with a final request from the people of Earth and all human colonies.
Ow.
Some aliens shifted in their seats. The word final got there. Attention. For 53 years, humanity has served this council faithfully. Our ships have defended your worlds from pirates and invaders. Our soldiers have died on battlefields light years from home. Our engineers have built the defenses that keep your people safe. Our doctors have saved lives on planets we had never seen before. Lisa paused and looked around the chamber. She saw the same expressions she always saw. Some looked bored. Others looked annoyed that a human was taking up their time. In return, we have asked for only one thing: full membership in this council. The right to vote on matters that affect all of us. The right to be treated as equals among the stars. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. Council Speaker Zolthan's voice cut through the noise. Ambassador Martinez, this matter has been discussed many times. The Council's position has not changed. Humans lack the maturity for full membership. Your species is too young, too aggressive, too unpredictable. Lisa nodded slowly. She'd expected this answer. It was always the same. I understand, she said. Then I bring you a different message today. She held up the datapad and activated it. Her words appeared in the air above the chamber in hundreds of different languages. Effective immediately, all human military forces are withdrawn from Council service. All human personnel serving in Council facilities will return to human space. All human-built defenses and technology provided to Council worlds will be deactivated. All trade agreements between humanity and Council members are terminated. The chamber erupted. Aliens jumped to their feet, shouting in languages Lisa did not understand. The noise was deafening. Zolthan slammed his staff on the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. Silence. Ambassador Martinez, this is unacceptable. You cannot simply withdraw from your duties. The Council depends on human military support. Lisa smiled for the first time in years. With respect, Speaker Zolthan, we are not members of this Council. We are a protectorate. We have no duties here except those we choose to accept, and we choose to accept none. A Hegemoth delegate, massive and covered in thick armor, stood up. His voice boomed across the chamber. This is madness. Human forces protect 17 major trade routes, while without them, pirates will destroy our commerce. The Kepler mining colonies depend on human patrols, shouted a thin gray alien from the Centauri systems. Who will defend them? Our defensive platforms were built by human engineers, cried another delegate. We do not have the knowledge to maintain them. Lisa listened to the chaos around her. Every complaint proved her point. The Council needed humanity far more than humanity needed the Council. These concerns should have been considered 53 years ago, Lisa said when the noise died down. Humanity offered partnership. The Council chose to treat us as servants. Now you will learn the value of what you rejected. Zalthanus' blue skin had turned darker. Space Ambassador, surely we can discuss this. Up to perhaps some form of associate membership could be arranged. Too late, Lisa replied. She turned off the data pad. This is not a negotiation. This is a notification. Humanity is leaving. Far above the planet, in the cold darkness of space, Captain Jake Harrison received the signal he had been waiting for. His battlecruiser Seattle hung in formation with 47 other human warships. They had been patrolling this system for 3 years, protecting alien trade ships from raiders. All ships, this is Admiral Clark, came the voice over the communication system. Operation Homeward begins now. All human vessels are to abandon their current positions and return to human space immediately. No explanations, no farewells. Just go. Jake looked at his crew. Men and women who had spent years of their lives protecting aliens who would not even acknowledge them as equals. Some had lost friends in battles, fought for the Council. Others bore scars from wounds received, defending worlds they would never see again. You heard the Admiral, Jake said. Kelm, set course for Earth. Maximum speed. The Seattle turned away from its patrol route. One by one, the other ships followed. Within minutes, the entire human fleet was gone, leaving empty space where Earth's Guardians had stood watch. Dr. Amy Thompson sat in her laboratory on the Council's Central Research Station. Around her, alien scientists worked on projects that used technology humans had developed. Faster-than-light communication systems, advanced medical scanners, weapons that could destroy asteroids threatening inhabited planets, all of it based on human innovation. All of it shared freely with species that considered humans too primitive for full membership. Amy's communication device chimed. The message was short and clear. All human personnel report for immediate evacuation. Bring nothing. Leave everything. She looked around the lab one more time. Decades of human research and development surrounded her. Technology that had advanced every Council member world. In a few hours, it would all shut down. The humans who understood how it worked would be gone. Amy smiled. Let them figure it out for themselves. Across the galaxy, the same scene played out on thousands of worlds. Human soldiers packed their gear and left their posts. Human doctors finished their current patients and walked away from alien hospitals. Human engineers shut down the systems they had built and headed for the transport ships. No anger, no threats. No dramatic speeches, just silence. On Earth, President Sarah Kelly watched reports come in from across human space. Every human was coming home. For the first time in 53 years, humanity would stand alone among the stars. Are we doing the right thing? Asked her advisor, General Chris Morgan. Sarah looked at the reports of human casualties from the last Council conflicts. Good people who had died protecting aliens who would not even acknowledge their sacrifice. We gave them everything, she said. Our blood, our technology, our loyalty. They gave us nothing in return. It's time they learned what the galaxy looks like without humanity watching over it. The Great Withdrawal had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the humans left, the first attack came. The mining world of Kepler-4 had been peaceful for 20 years. The human cruiser New York had patrolled the system every day, keeping pirates and raiders away from the valuable or deposits. The miners never worried about attacks. They knew the humans were watching over them. Now the skies were empty. The pirate fleet appeared at dawn. 12 ships, old and rusty, but armed with plasma cannons. They surrounded the mining platforms and sent a simple message, pay or die. The miners called for help. Their distress signal reached the nearest Council patrol ship 4 hours later. The alien captain, a Zephyrian named Clix, looked at his small escort vessel and the reports of 12 pirate ships. His ship had light weapons meant for chasing smugglers, not fighting a real battle. We cannot help them, Clix told his crew. We must wait for reinforcements. Reinforcements never came. The Council's main fleet was spread too thin across the galaxy, without human ships filling the gaps. There were not enough vessels to protect everyone. The pirates took what they wanted and left. 47 miners died in the attack. The survivors sent angry messages to the Council, demanding to know where their protection had gone. The Council had no good answer. Admiral Susan Clark stood on the bridge of the Earth Shield, watching the last human transport ships arrive at the Sol system. For 3 days, ships had been arriving from every corner of the galaxy. Soldiers, engineers, doctors, teachers, and scientists, all coming home.
Yes!
That's the last one, reported Captain Danny Wright from his position at the communication station. Every human citizen in Council space has been evacuated. Susan nodded. The withdrawal had been perfect. Not a single human life lost. Not a single piece of important equipment left behind. They had simply vanished like morning mist. Ma'am, called Lieutenant Kate Phillips from the sensor station. We're getting reports from our monitoring stations. The Zephyrian trade routes are under attack. Susan was not surprised. The Zephyrian trade routes carried goods between 50 different worlds. They were rich targets for pirates and slavers. For years, Captain Wright's patrol squadron had kept those routes safe. How many ships are attacking? Susan asked. Sensors show at least 30 raider vessels operating in the area.
Zephyrian
Defense Force has only 8 ships. They're calling for immediate assistance. Susan looked at the display showing the attacks. She could see the panic in the Zephyrian messages. Their cargo ships were being destroyed or captured. Their crews were being taken as slaves. Any response from the Council, she asked. The nearest Council fleet is 6 days away, the Zephyrians are asking why human patrols are not responding to their distress calls. Susan felt a cold satisfaction. The Zephyrians had been among the loudest voices opposing human membership in the Council. They had called humans useful barbarians who should be grateful for the chance to serve their betters. Send a message to the Zephyrian government, Susan ordered. Tell them that human forces are no longer assigned to patrol duties in that sector. Suggest they contact the Galactic Council for assistance. Across the galaxy, the same pattern repeated. Systems that had been protected by human ships for decades suddenly found themselves defenseless. The Council's own fleet was too small and too slow to fill the gaps. Pirates and raiders attacked with growing boldness. On the industrial world, Avega Prime, factories shut down when raider attacks made trade impossible. On the agricultural planets of the Tau Ceti system, farmers watched their crops rot in storage because transport ships refused to enter the dangerous space around their world. The galactic economy began to collapse. Dr. Ryan Mitchell worked in the secret laboratories beneath Titan Station. Around him, the most advanced technology in human space hummed with quiet power. Fusion reactors that could power entire star systems. Faster-than-light drives that made Council ships look like ancient. Sailing vessels. Weapons that could crack planets. For 50 years, humans had shared their basic technology with the Council. Simple weapons, basic defensive systems, communication equipment. The Council members thought they were seeing the best humanity had to offer. They were wrong. How long until the new ships are ready? Asked General Morgan as he toured the facility. First squadron will be complete in 6 months, Ryan replied. These ships are centuries ahead of anything the Council has ever seen. One of our new destroyers could defeat an entire Council fleet. General Morgan nodded. And the defensive systems can protect every human world with energy shields that will stop any weapon the Council possesses. Our planets will be completely safe. Ryan led the general to another section of the laboratory. Here teams of scientists worked on projects that would have seemed like magic to the Council members. We've been studying every piece of alien technology we could find for the past 50 years, Ryan explained. Every weapon, every ship, every defensive system. We know exactly how their equipment works. More importantly, we know how to defeat it. General Morgan picked up a small device from one of the work tables. What's this? A jamming system. It can shut down any Council ship within 100 kilometers. Their weapons, their engines, their life support, everything. Smiled. The Council is about to learn that they never really knew humanity at all. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, Captain Sam Turner commanded the stealth ship Phantom. His vessel was invisible to Council sensors, drifting through enemy territory like a ghost. He was one of dozens of human observers watching the chaos unfold. Captain, reported his sensor officer, we're picking up a large battle in the Altair system. Looks like the hegemony is attacking the Council's border worlds. Sam was not surprised. The hegemony was a hostile alien empire that had been expanding for decades. Only the presence of human battle fleets had kept them from attacking Council territory. Now the humans were gone. How many ships? Sam asked. Hegemony fleet shows 200 vessels. The Council Defense Force has maybe 30 ships. It's not going to be much of a fight. Sam watched the battle unfold on his screens. The Council ships were brave but hopeless. Their weapons barely scratched the Hegemony vessels. Their defensive systems failed under concentrated fire. Within 2 hours, the entire Council fleet was destroyed. The Hegemony forces moved on to attack the planet itself. Orbital bombardment began immediately. Cities burned. Millions of aliens died. Sam felt no satisfaction watching the slaughter. These were innocent people paying for their leaders' mistakes. But his orders were clear. Observe and record. Do not interfere. Humanity was no longer the galaxy's protector. The refugee crisis began within weeks. Millions of aliens fled from hegemony attacks and pirate raids. They packed into transport ships and headed for the safest place they could. Find human space. The refugee ships arrived at the borders of the Sol system to find their way blocked by automated defense platforms. The platforms sent the same message. To every ship, this is the Terran Defense Network. Human space is closed to all non-citizens. Please contact the Galactic Council for assistance with your refugee status. The alien refugees pleaded and begged. They offered money, technology, anything they had. Some tried to force their way past the defense platforms. Those ships were gently but firmly turned away by invisible force fields. Dr. Patricia Green monitored the refugee situation from her post on Luna Base. The communications from the desperate aliens filled her screens. Families separated by the chaos. Children crying for parents who might already be dead. Entire species fleeing their homeworlds. She felt sorry for them. But humanity had tried to help these people for 50 years. The Council had rejected every offer of partnership. It made it clear that humans were not welcome as equals. Now, they would learn what the galaxy looked like without human protection. Dr. Green called her assistant. We're getting a priority message from the Council. They want to speak directly with President Kelly. Patricia looked at the message. It was from Council Speaker Zelthan himself. It's the proud alien leader who had rejected humanity's membership request, was now begging for help. Forward it to Earth, Patricia ordered. But let the President decide how to respond. The message was short and desperate. The Council offered trade agreements, technology sharing, even limited voting rights, anything to bring the humans back. The President's response was even shorter. No, the galaxy was learning a hard lesson. For 50 years, they had taken human strength for granted. They had assumed that humans would always be there to protect them. No matter how badly they were treated, they were wrong. The Galactic Council was falling apart. Their military was too weak to protect their own worlds. Their economy was collapsing as trade routes became too dangerous to use. Their member worlds were abandoning the alliance and trying to make separate deals with the humans, and through it all, humanity remained silent. They had said everything they needed to say when Ambassador Martinez walked out of the council chambers. The galaxy was on its own. 6 months had passed since humanity left the council. The galaxy was dying. Council Chairman Vexstar stood in his command center on the Altarian homeworld, watching the destruction of everything he had built. The proud Altarian leader had personally blocked humanity's membership request 3 times. He had called humans useful primitives who should be grateful for the chance to serve advanced species like his own. Now, his homeworld burned. The hegemony fleet filled the sky above his capital. City. 2,000 enemy ships surrounded the planet like hungry wolves. The Altarian Defense Force had been destroyed in the first hour of battle. Their weapons were useless against hegemony shields. Their ships exploded like toys. Sir called his military advisor. The last defense platform has fallen. The enemy is beginning orbital bombardment. Vexstar watched explosions bloom across his world's surface. Cities that had stood for thousands of years disappeared in balls of fire. His people ran screaming through the streets as death fell from the sky. How long can our bunkers hold? Vexstar asked. Maybe a day. The enemy has weapons we have never seen before. Our shields cannot stop them. Vexstar remembered the human ships that used to patrol this system. The ugly gray vessels that his people had mocked as primitive. Those same ships had defeated hegemony. Raiders 12 times. The humans had made it look easy. Send another message to Earth, Vexstar ordered. Tell them we accept their terms. Full membership. Equal voting rights. Whatever they want. His communication officer shook his head. Sir, we have sent 47 messages to human space. They do not respond. Our signals cannot even reach their worlds. Some kind of jamming field blocks all communication. The bunker shook his enemy. Fire struck overhead. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Vexstar closed his eyes. His species was about to become extinct. The same species that had ruled this part of the galaxy for 5,000 years, all because he had been too proud to treat humans as equals. Captain Sam Turner watched the destruction of the Altarian homeworld. From his hidden position in space, the stealth ship Phantom recorded everything while remaining invisible to both sides. Sam's orders were simple. Watch and learn. Do not interfere. It was hard to watch. The Altarians were arrogant, but they did not deserve this. Billions of innocent people were dying because their leaders had made bad choices. Captain called his weapons officer, Lieutenant Joe Adams. We could stop this. One spread of our new torpedoes would cripple their entire fleet. Sam wanted to give that order. Every instinct told him to protect the innocent. But humanity was no longer the galaxy's guardian. That job had been rejected along with their request for equal treatment. Natuth, Sam replied. We observe only. The Altarians made their choice when they refused to treat us as partners. On his screens, Sam watched hegemony troops land on the planet's surface. They moved through the burning cities, killing everything they found. Men, women, children. The hegemony did not take prisoners. Sam's communication officer reported. Sir, we're getting desperate calls from refugee ships. Altarian civilians trying to escape the system. They're begging us to help them. Through his ship's cameras, Sam could see the refugee vessels, old cargo ships, and personal transports packed with families. They moved slowly, overloaded with people who had lost everything. The hegemony fighters hunted them like animals. Sir, one of the refugee ships has children on board. Maybe 1,000 kids. Sam watched the hegemony fighters close in on the defenseless. Transport. He could save those children with a single command. His weapons could destroy the enemy fighters in seconds. He did nothing. The refugee ship exploded in a ball of fire. 1,000 young lives ended in an instant. Sam felt sick. But orders were orders. Humanity would not be the galaxy's protector anymore. General Chris Morgan stood in the Situation Room on Earth, watching reports from across the galaxy. The holographic display showed red zones spreading like a disease. Red meant hegemony control. Red meant death and destruction. How many worlds have fallen? Asked President Sarah Kelly. 43 in the last month, Morgan replied. The hegemony is moving faster than we expected. Without human forces to slow them down, they're conquering everything in their path. The president studied the tactical display. The hegemony advance was aimed directly at the heart of Council space. It would reach the Council capital world within 6 months. They're sending envoys to every human colony they can find, offering bribes, making threats, begging for help. We've ignored them all. President Kelly nodded. Good, let them solve their own problems. Morgan hesitated. Some of my officers are asking questions. They want to know why we're letting innocent people die when we could stop it.
Oh!
The president turned to face him. General, how many humans died protecting Council worlds over the past 50 years? Morgan checked his files. Official casualties number, 847,000 military personnel. Civilian deaths from attacks on human colonies, total another 200,000. Over 1 million people, the president said quietly. 1 million humans died protecting aliens who would not even acknowledge us as equals. How many of those alien leaders attended the funerals? How many sent letters of sympathy to the families? Morgan knew the answer. None, ma'am. The galaxy made its choice, General. They wanted us as servants, not partners. Now they can live with the consequences. Meanwhile, in the Outer Rim territories, the pirate fleets grew bolder every day. Without human patrols to stop them, raiders attacked with impunity. Entire star systems fell under pirate control. The Syndicate, the largest criminal organization in the galaxy, took control of the Vega. Trade routes. They charged massive fees for safe passage. Ships that refused to pay were destroyed or captured. The crews were sold as slaves. Captain Danny Wright monitored the situation from his new post commanding the Human Border Defense Fleet. His ships patrolled the edge of human space, making sure no raiders entered Terran territory, Sir reported. His navigation officer, "We have a Centauri merchant convoy requesting permission to enter human space. Hey, they say pirates destroyed their escort." Danny looked at the sensor display. 12 cargo ships damaged and running on emergency power. Behind them, a pirate fleet was closing fast. Standard response: Lieutenant, human space is closed to non-citizens. Suggest they contact the Galactic Council for assistance. The merchant captain's voice came over the communication system. "Please, we have families on these ships. Children, the pirates will kill us all." Danny felt the same sick feeling that every human officer experienced these days. They were trained to protect innocent life. It went against everything they believed, to turn away people in need, but orders were orders. Negative merchant convoy. You are not authorized to enter human space. Please alter course immediately. The pirate ships caught the convoy 3 hours later. Danny's long-range sensors recorded the massacre. Hundreds of innocent aliens died because humanity would no longer protect them. The refugee crisis grew worse every day. Millions of aliens fled from the advancing hegemony. They packed into transport ships and headed for the nearest safe port. Many tried to reach human space, only to be turned away at the border. Refugee camps sprang up on the edges of human territory. Makeshift settlements where desperate aliens waited for permission to enter the one place in the galaxy that was still safe. Dr. Patricia Green studied the refugee reports from her office on Luna Base. The numbers were staggering. Over 50 million displaced beings crowded into temporary camps. They had no food, no medical supplies, no hope. Dr. Green called her assistant. "We're getting reports of disease outbreaks in the refugee camps, without proper medical care. Mil Cone could die." Patricia had spent years working with alien biology. She could develop treatments for the diseases spreading through the camps. Human medical technology was advanced enough to save most of the refugees, but her orders were clear. No aid to non-citizens. Note the reports and file them, Patricia. Ordered, send copies to the Council Medical Authority. Maybe they can help. But everyone knew the Council's medical resources were overwhelmed. Their doctors were fleeing the advancing hegemony like everyone else. The Galactic Council held its last official session in an emergency bunker on the capital world. Only 30 delegates attended. The rest were dead, captured or fleeing for their lives. Council Speaker Zolthan looked around the nearly empty chamber. 6 months ago, this room had been filled with proud representatives from hundreds of worlds. Now it echoed with emptiness. "The situation is critical," Zolthan announced. "The hegemony will reach our capital within weeks. Our military is destroyed. Our economy has collapsed. Member worlds are abandoning the alliance." A Zephyrian delegate stood up. "This is all humanity's fault. If they had not abandoned their duties, none of this would have happened." "They abandoned nothing," replied a Centauri representative. "We refused to treat them as equals. We brought this on ourselves." The argument that followed was bitter, but pointless. Blame would not save them now. "What are our options?" asked the Hegemoth delegate. Zolthan looked at the tactical display, showing hegemony forces closing on their position. "We can surrender to the hegemony and hope for mercy. We can fight to the last ship and die with honor. Or we can do what we should have done 50 years ago, which is..." The Council's surrender message reached Earth during the middle of the night. President Sarah Kelly read it in her private office while the world slept around her. The proud aliens who had once ruled the galaxy were begging for help. "Ma'am," said General Morgan as he entered the office, "the surrender document is genuine. Every remaining council member has signed it. They're offering complete submission to human authority." Sarah looked at the list of demands. The council had accepted dissolution of their government, human oversight of all remaining worlds, complete access to all alien technology and resources. It was everything humanity could have asked for and more. "What about the hegemony?" Sarah asked. "Their fleet will reach the council capital in 48 hours. After that, there won't be a council left to surrender."
Oh.
Sarah studied the tactical reports. The hegemony had conquered half the galaxy in just 8 months. Their war machine seemed unstoppable. Soon they would control everything except human space. Prepare the fleet, Sarah ordered. It's time to remind the galaxy why they needed us in the first place. General Chris Morgan stood on the bridge of the Earth's Pride, humanity's most advanced warship. Around him, the bridge crew prepared for battle. These men and women had trained for years in secret, learning to use weapons and technology that the Council had never seen. Fleet status report, Morgan commanded. All ships ready, sir, replied Captain Ben Rodriguez from his position. At the tactical station, we have 50 vessels in the attack formation. Each ship carries enough firepower to destroy an entire Council fleet. Morgan nodded. The human fleet was small compared to the Hegemony Armada, but size was not everything. The aliens were about to learn what human engineering could really accomplish. Sir, called the communication officer, we're receiving a message from the Hegemony fleet. They want to talk. Put it through. The main screen filled with the image of a Hegemony war chief. The alien was massive, covered in thick armor and battle scars. His voice was deep and threatening. I am War Chief Krextal of the Hegemony Empire. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Your pathetic ships are no match for our mighty fleet. Morgan smiled. This is General Morgan of the Terran Federation. You have attacked our allies. Withdraw from Council space immediately or face the consequences. The war chief laughed. Your allies? The Council abandoned you? Human. They called you primitive servants. Why do you protect them now? Because that's what civilized beings do, Morgan replied. You protect the innocent, even when they don't deserve it. Krextal's expression turned serious. You face 3,000 ships, human. Your 50 vessels will be destroyed in minutes. We'll see about that, Morgan said, and cut the communication. The Hegemony fleet was indeed massive. Its 3,000 warships spread across space like a dark cloud. Each ship was armed with plasma cannons and particle beam weapons. Their shields could withstand anything the old Council fleets could throw at them, but they had never faced human technology. All ships, Morgan commanded, engage the enemy. Show them what happens when they threaten innocent life. The human fleet moved forward. Like hunting wolves, their ships were sleek and fast, built with technology that seemed impossible to alien minds. As they approached the enemy formation, the Hegemony ships opened fire. Thousands of energy beams lanced through space toward the human vessels. The aliens expected to see the enemy ships explode in balls of fire. Instead, the beams struck invisible barriers and disappeared. The human ships had shield technology that made Council defenses look like paper armor. Return fire, Morgan ordered. The human weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of simple energy beams, they fired concentrated bursts of matter and energy that tore through space itself. Each shot was perfectly aimed by computer systems that could track 1,000 targets at once. The first Hegemony ship to be hit simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, the next moment there was empty space. No explosion, no debris, just nothing. War Chief Krextal stared in shock as his ships began disappearing. What kind of weapons are these? He demanded. His science officer checked the readings 3 times before answering. Sir, their weapons are tearing apart the molecular structure of our ships. Our shields cannot stop them. Our armor is useless. On the human flagship, Captain Rodriguez tracked the battle's progress. Sir, we've destroyed 400 enemy vessels in the first 10 minutes. No damage to our ships. Morgan watched the Hegemony fleet try to adapt to weapons they could not understand. Some ships attempted to ram the human vessels, only to bounce off the invisible shields. Others tried to retreat, but human ships were faster than anything the aliens had built. Sir, called the sensor officer, the enemy is requesting a ceasefire. Denied, Morgan replied. They wanted a war, now they have one. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, the entire Hegemony fleet was gone. 3,000 ships reduced to scattered atoms floating in space. Not a single human vessel had taken damage. War Chief Krextal found himself alone on the bridge of his flagship, the only surviving ship in his armada. His crew was dead. His empire's greatest fleet was destroyed. The human ships surrounded him like predators. As General Morgan came the voice over his communication system. You are the sole survivor of your fleet. You will return to Hegemony space and deliver a message to your leaders. Krextall could barely speak. What message? Human space and all worlds under human protection are forbidden to your kind. Any hegemony ship that enters our territory will be destroyed without warning. Your empire will stay in its current borders and never expand again. If you attack innocent worlds, we will come for you. The war chief looked at his empty radar screen. His mighty fleet was gone, destroyed by weapons he could not comprehend. How? He whispered. How did you become so powerful? We had good teachers, Morgan replied. Every alien species we encountered taught us something new. We learned from your mistakes and improved on your successes. While you fought each other, we prepared for the day when the galaxy would need real protection. Krextall's ship limped away from the battlefield, carrying news of the hegemony's defeat back to their empire.
Oh, the aliens, who had seemed unstoppable.
Just hours before now, cowered behind their borders, afraid to venture into space. The Council Capital world received word of the human victory with mixed emotions. The civilians cheered to learn they were safe from the hegemony. The politicians worried about what humanity would demand in return. Council Speaker Zolthan waited in his office for the human delegation to arrive. The proud Altarian leader who had once called humans useful primitives now prepared to kneel before the species he had rejected. Ambassador Lisa Martinez entered the room with a small group of human officials. She wore the same simple black suit she had worn when delivering humanity's departure notice. But now she carried herself like someone who spoke for the galaxy's dominant power. Speaker Zolthan, Lisa said formally. I come to discuss the terms of the Council's surrender. Zolthan bowed deeply. Ambassador Martinez, the Council accepts full responsibility for our past mistakes. We place ourselves at humanity's mercy. Lisa sat down across from him. The Terran Federation does not want your surrender. We want your cooperation. Zolthan looked confused. I don't understand. The old Galactic Council is finished, Lisa explained. It failed because it was built on the idea that some species were better than others. We're going to create something new. Something based on equality and mutual respect. And our role in this new alliance? The same as any other member species. You'll govern your own worlds, contribute to the common defense, and have an equal voice in galactic affairs. Oh, masters. No servants, just partners. Zolthan stared at her in amazement. After everything we did to you, you're offering us equality? That's what we wanted all along, Lisa replied. We never asked to rule the galaxy. We just wanted to be treated as equals while helping to protect it. The formal negotiations took 3 days. When they were finished, the Terran Federation was born. Unlike the old council, the new alliance treated all species as equals. Humans would provide military protection and advanced technology. Other species would contribute their own knowledge and resources. It was the partnership humanity had always wanted. Dr. Ryan Mitchell stood in the Federation Assembly Hall, watching representatives from dozens of worlds sign the new alliance charter. Humans worked alongside aliens as equals for the first time in galactic history. Think it will work? Asked Dr. Patricia Green. Ryan nodded. It has to. The galaxy learned what happens when cooperation fails. They won't make that mistake again. Outside, the building refugee camps were already being dismantled. The Federation's first act had been to provide aid to all displaced beings, regardless of their species or past loyalties. Humanity's mercy was as impressive as their military might. The age of human servitude was over. The age of galactic partnership had begun. 3 years had passed since the birth of the Terran Federation. The galaxy was a different place now. Where once there had been fear and chaos, there was peace and prosperity. Where once there had been division and hatred, there was cooperation and hope. Admiral Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the Federation starship Unity, watching a joint patrol exercise in the Vega system. Human ships flew alongside Altarian cruisers and Zephyrian frigates. Their crews worked together as equals, sharing knowledge and protecting each other. Admiral called Captain Maria Santos from her position at the communication station. We're receiving a distress call from the Kepler mining colony. Pirates are attacking the ore transports. Jake smiled. Deploy the response fleet. Human and alien together. The Federation fleet that responded to the distress call was unlike anything the old galaxy had ever seen. Human destroyers with their advanced weapons worked with Centauri scout ships and their superior sensors. Hegemoth heavy cruisers provided massive firepower while Zephyrian support vessels handled rescue operations. The pirates fled without firing a shot. They had learned not to challenge the Federation's combined might. Captain Danny Wright commanded. The Federation Academy on Mars, where officers from every member species trained together. The Red Planet had been transformed into a center of learning and cooperation. Humans learned alien languages and customs, while aliens studied human tactics and technology. Attention, cadets, Danny announced to his mixed class of humans and aliens. Today we're studying joint operations between different ship types. Remember, our strength comes from diversity, not uniformity. A young Altarian cadet raised her hand. Sir, how do we coordinate between species with different communication methods? Danny gestured to a human cadet sitting nearby. Cadet Rodriguez, please explain the Universal Translation Protocol. The human student stood up. Ma'am, all Federation. Ships use standardized communication systems that automatically translate between languages. But more importantly, we train together so we understand each other without words. An older Zephyrian officer nodded approvingly. Species fought alone. We were weak because we were divided, and we are strong because we are united. The Academy's motto was carved into the wall in dozens of languages, in unity, strength, inequality, peace. It was more than just words. It was the foundation of the new galactic order. Dr. Amy Thompson worked in the Federation's Central Research Facility on Titan Station. The massive laboratory was 10 times larger than it had been during the Council era. Scientists from every member species shared their knowledge freely, creating advances that amazed even the humans.
Out.
Called her assistant, a young Centauri named Veltar. The new medical scanner is ready for testing. Amy looked at the device her team had built. Combined human nanotechnology with Altarian energy manipulation and Zephyrian biosensors. The result was a medical tool that could diagnose and treat diseases that had once been incurable. Excellent. Work, everyone, Amy said to her diverse team. This scanner will save millions of lives across the galaxy. A Hegemoth engineer named Grokatar examined the readings. The power efficiency is remarkable. My people's healing crystals work much better when combined with human technology, Amy smiled. The old council had hoarded knowledge, keeping each species separate and weak. The Federation shared everything, making everyone stronger in the outer rim territories. The former pirate havens had been transformed into thriving trade centers. Captain Sam Turner commanded the Federation patrol ship Harmony as it made its rounds through the now peaceful systems.
Out, sir.
Reported his sensor officer. Lieutenant Kelly Adams, we have a cargo convoy requesting escort through the asteroid field. Sam looked at the convoy on his screen. 12 ships carrying goods from human colonies to alien worlds. 3 months ago, such a convoy would have been attacked by pirates within hours. Now it traveled safely under Federation protection. Oh. Ships, form up on the convoy, Sam ordered. Let's make sure they reach their destination safely. The convoy consisted of ships from 5 different species. Human freighters carried Altarian art to Zephyrian museums. Centauri transports delivered human medical supplies to remote colonies. Trade flowed freely between all Federation worlds as they passed through the asteroid field.
House.
Sam's crew detected an old pirate base hidden among the rocks. The base was abandoned now, its former occupants either captured or driven away by Federation patrols. Sir called his communication officer. We're getting a message from the convoy commander. He wants to thank us for the escort, Sam smiled. Tell him it's our pleasure. Safe travels make for prosperous worlds. On Earth, President Sarah Kelly met with the Federation Council in the newly built Unity Center. Representatives from 47 species gathered around a circular table where no seat was higher than any other. Every member had an equal voice in galactic affairs. The annual trade report shows record prosperity across all Federation worlds, announced the Zephyrian Trade Minister. Piracy is down 97% from Council-era levels. Council Speaker Lisa Martinez, who had been elected to lead the Federation Assembly, reviewed the security briefings. Military cooperation between member species has exceeded all expectations. Joint training exercises have created the most effective defense force in galactic history. A Centauri delegate raised a concern. What about the hegemony? Our intelligence reports show they're rebuilding their military. General Chris Morgan, now serving as Federation Defense Coordinator, addressed the concern. The hegemony has made no aggressive moves since their defeat 3 years ago. However, we maintain strong border patrols just in case. Any attack on Federation territory would be met with overwhelming force. The hegemony had indeed learned their lesson. War Chief Krextel, the sole survivor of their great fleet, had returned home with tales of human weapons that could destroy entire armadas in minutes. The hegemony empire had withdrawn behind their borders and stayed there. Dr. Patricia Green studied the refugee integration reports from her office on Luna Base. The millions of aliens who had fled the chaos of the Council's collapse were now productive citizens of Federation worlds. They had been given homes, jobs, and hope for the future. Dr. Green called her assistant. We have the final numbers on the resettlement program. Patricia reviewed the data. Over 50 million refugees had been successfully integrated into Federation society. Alien farmers grew food on human agricultural worlds. Human engineers worked alongside alien architects to build new cities. Children of different species played together in schools across the galaxy. Remarkable, Patricia said. 3 years ago, these people were homeless and desperate. Now they're contributing members of our society. The success of the refugee program had surprised even the humans. The Federation's policy of treating everyone as equals had created a sense of belonging that the old Council had never achieved. Captain Ben Rodriguez commanded the Federation flagship Endeavor on a patrol mission to the Galactic Rim. His crew was a perfect example of Federation cooperation. Humans, Altarians, Zephyrians, Centauri, and even reformed Hegemoth officers worked side by side. Captain reported his Altarian science officer were detecting unusual energy readings. From an unexplored system, could be a new form of life. Ben nodded. Set course for the system. Launch a full scientific survey. If we find new life, we'll make first contact according to Federation protocols. First contact had been revolutionized. Under the Federation, instead of conquest or exploitation, the new policy emphasized peaceful communication and mutual respect. 3 new species had already joined the Federation after friendly first contact missions. As the Endeavor approached the mysterious system, Ben thought about how much the galaxy had changed. Under the old Council, this mission would have been about claiming territory or resources. Under the Federation, it was about making new friends. Sir called his communication officer. We're receiving signals from the planet. Definitely artificial. There's intelligent life down there. Ben smiled. Open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves properly. The Federation's influence continued to spread. Not through conquest, but through example. Species that had once feared. Their neighbors now sought to join the alliance that offered security, prosperity, and dignity to all. On the anniversary of humanity's silent departure from the Council, Ambassador Lisa Martinez stood before the Federation Assembly. Representatives from dozens of worlds listened as she reflected on how far they had all come. 3 years ago, humanity left the Galactic Council because we were denied the respect that all sapient beings deserve, Lisa said. Today we stand, together as equals in an alliance built on mutual trust and shared values. The assembly erupted in applause. Humans clapped alongside aliens who had once considered them inferior. Former enemies sat next to former victims, united by their commitment to a better future. The old galaxy was built on fear and division, Lisa continued. The new galaxy is built on hope and cooperation. Together, we are stronger than we ever were apart. A young Altarian delegate stood up. Ambassador Martinez, my people have a saying, the tree that stands alone falls in the storm, but the forest stands forever. The Federation is our forest.